I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that, you know, my way is the best way or even a good way. But that's the way that's worked for me throughout my flying. Because I want to see a wave to the tower. Oh shit, I've trimmed it way back too much. Oh f***. As I said that, I roll right past 060. Oh god, he's good. Yes, he's good. I continue the turn. I'm still in the same spot that I was. Alright boys and girls, welcome back to LewDix Aviation. Welcome to the beautiful day here at Orlando Executive. A little bit cooler this morning as well because we had a cold front that just moved through. Today's video has been chosen by the channel members at the air traffic control tier. I have a membership kind of tier system for the channel, which if you're interested, the link is in the description. It's going to be kind of a how I do maneuvers in the Piper Cherokee, which has been brought to us by Anda Aviation. All these planes that I rent, they're actually in a line. The 172, 1 Bravo Golf, you've seen that on the channel. You've seen 32042 on the channel. You've seen 0 Mike Alpha on the channel. You've also seen 6 Hotel Foxtrot on the channel. All these planes are Anda Aviation planes here at Orlando Executive. I'm not a flight school. Another question I get asked a lot, but Anda Aviation is strictly rentals. These planes I've been using for years. I started using Anda's planes in 2015, around the time that I started the channel, actually. I've been using them ever since. If you're in the Central Florida area and you're in need of planes, I would not go anywhere else other than Anda Aviation. And if need be, I could maybe check you out on them. With that being said, it's time to go and see how I do maneuvers. If you're interested in videos like these, and there's other maneuvers that I don't do today that you might want to see, then let me know in the comments. I can always come up and do more videos like this. So I've found somebody, a friend, and a massive fan of the channel. It's Nick! Say hello, Nick.
Hi.
If you look, Nick's got the old flying eyes on. He needs to use a discount code to upgrade those bad boys.
Lewis needs to give me a pair. He's got a bunch of them at home.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. I was waiting for it.
Press the button and start going like this.
Remain clear, Nick.
Oh, look, it's got the screen on and everything. So, like, I can move it here a little bit.
What are you doing? Nick!
What does this power button do?
Go in the FBO and listen. What are you... Nick!
Is there anybody in here?
Remain clear of my propeller. I'm commencing engine start. Alright, welcome to the Cockpit 32042. The run-up has just been completed. Today I've got a little plan on my iPad here. Slow flight, stalls, unusual attitudes. Those are interesting, and you have to know those for PPL anyway. And it's not specifically for PPL, it's just whatever. I'm good at explaining things. Steep turns, and then an emergency descent / steep spiral. She's going, that's Nick's student, she's going solo. Congratulations to her. Nick told me that she doesn't watch the videos, so Nick needs to be teaching his students a little bit better than that.
November 32042, Anda Aviation Northwest departure for runway 7 Alpha 7. Clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 7 Northwest departure approved, 32042.
Runway 7 Alpha.
You know what, we'll do a soft field takeoff, no brakes. 777, looking good, that's up. Alright, no stopping, no brakes, let's go. Got 2 notches of flaps in there. Soft field takeoff. This wasn't part of the plan, boys and girls, but you know what? F it, we're going. Alright, airspeed's alive. Release some of that back pressure because you don't want to bring it up too early and stall. That's a tendency on this thing. There we go, it comes up, push it into ground effect. Level it out, let it accelerate. We got enough speed, we climb away. We're off that soft field as quickly as humanly possible. And as quickly as humanly possible, I'm going to say, welcome to the sky. Get ready your flaps, 1 notch at a time. What a beautiful morning. 1,000 feet, climb checklist. Flaps are retracted.
Somewhat to the right, so it shouldn't be a factor. It should be past.
Fuel pump off, check these.
Okay, we're looking.
Climbing out, beautiful. Checklist complete. Alright, so let's do slow flight first of all. Let's do pre-maneuver. Mixture, fuel pump, landing light. I'm just going to keep the mixture back a little bit. Fuel selector is on the fullest tank. Minimum safe altitude for this is 1500. Clearing turns, radio calls. Let me do a couple of those, I'll be back with you.
Alright, so I picked my heading. If you've got a heading book, use your heading book. Such a help. Alright, so I'm a big power settings guy. So I've memorised power settings in this, well, pretty much any Cherokee that I've flown that keeps me where I need to be. So let's do it. So first of all, 1700. You're already below the white arc, you can get 1 notch of flaps in there. You look outside, hold the heading, hold the altitude, 2nd notch of flaps. Hold the heading, hold the altitude, realise I give myself a little bit of trim there. Forward, so I don't balloon up, alright? 3rd notch of flaps, you just hold it, you're looking, you come into your speed, we'll do around 60. And then what I do is I put the power setting between 1900 RPM and 2000, and I hold it and see what it does. That's what I'm talking about with the power settings. So I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, well, I'm at 60 knots, which is what I said I wanted. I'm at 2,500 feet, which is the altitude, and I'm on my heading. Now, am I trimmed? I've been harping on about trimming. Seems like it might need a little bit more trim, a little bit of back trim, but there you go. And you're in slow flight. So usually, you'd be at, if you were level and you're at about 2,000 RPM, you'd be at a much higher airspeed than 60 knots, right? But on the backside of the power curve. And now it just becomes a constant relationship between pitch and power. So let's say I've climbed a little bit, so I know my power setting is a little bit too high. So I backed off the power, obviously with less thrust, less airflow over the wings. But there you go, slow flight. We're in it. If you want to do some turns, you do a little bit left with the rudder. Like this doesn't have much authority because you're slow. Let's slow it down even more, shall we? I'm going to back off the power. That's going to cause me again, the relationship backing off the power, less lift. To gain that lift back, I've got to pull back on the yoke. That's going to bleed off the speed. So you see the speed has come down here, 55 knots. I'm on the inside scale, by the way. Outside miles an hour, inside knots. So we'll turn to the west. So I've been forced to have to pull back more on the yoke. That bleeds off the speed. Now my altitude's back to where I want it, 25, so I'm going to increase the power a little bit. What that's going to do is hold me exactly where I want to be. So I'm at like 55 knots, flying about, and literally it's just that relationship. Pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. So anyway, that's that. Alright, so you saw that entry into slow flight with flaps, okay? Let me show you the stall. Let me recover from this. Full power. Nose down. 1 notch of flaps. You don't take all the flaps out at once. You want to see why? There goes the flaps, there goes my nose, and I've got a major descent rate coming in now because I took all the flaps out at once. That's why you never do it. Putting it into a stall scenario, power off stall scenario, because there's multiple stall scenarios. I'll show you how I do those in a second, but the power off stall, the entry to it is exactly the same as I do slow flight. That's why I like combining them, putting them together. Alright, 2,500 feet westbound. Lake Popka traffic by Cherokee 32042, northwest shore, Lake Popka, 2,500 feet doing stalls, Lake Popka. So, that slow flight thing, we're just going to do it again. 1,700, we're below the white arc. 1 notch of flaps, looking outside. We're fine, 2nd notch of flaps, give yourself that little bit of lift. Speed's going to bleed off, last notch of flaps. And there you go, you're in slow flight, right? But we want to stall it, so you want to simulate you coming into landing for the power off. Landing, okay, we're at 60, 65 knots, approach speed. Simulate descent, got a little descent rate, power idle. And then, silly pilot, you flare way too much. And this is where rudder control comes in. So what I do is I just tap dance on the rudder, just to keep it where I want it. Let it stall, all the way back. Let the nose come down, because you don't want that secondary stall. So smooth down and then bring that nose back up. Get yourself climbing back to your original altitude. Remember, you're simulating you're close to the ground. So I want to get that climb back in. We've got a positive rate of climb, 2nd notch of flaps is coming out. In this situation, you definitely don't want to drop all the flaps at once. No way! Don't be stupid! 2,500 feet. And we're accelerating past 70, 75, and we're back to normal. Alright, let's do another type of stall. Let's do what? Power on stall. Letting the plane slow down to rotation speed, which for me is 65 knots. So you see this is coming down. See I'm maintaining altitude, see I'm maintaining heading. And then if you were going to do slow flight clean, you just add a little bit of power to maintain altitude. Alright, and pitch for your airspeed. But in this situation, instead of maintaining this, I'm going to simulate that we're taking off and I've over-rotated. Now if I don't do anything with the rudder, look at this going to this side. to the left. The ball goes outside, the plane wants to go that way, so I have to put in a significant amount of rudder to stop this thing from trying to spin away. Now that's as much of a stall as we're going to get. Like, it's struggling, so I've got to push the nose down. I know we're off heading on this because I was showing you that. You just push the nose down, keep full power in there. Let it accelerate, we're past 70, 75, bring the power back, get back to your original altitude, simple as that. What about another stall thing that you don't really get shown private? Like, you get told about stall speeds and stuff, but that's misleading. Definitely misleading, because an airplane can stall at any speed. It's about angle of attack. Accelerated stall, really easy to do. So I've picked an altitude, I've picked a heading, I'm on south, but we're going to go away from that. You're below manoeuvring speed, so we're well below that, so I'm going to put myself into a 45-degree bank. Coordinated, 45 degrees, just pull back. Wait for the stall. There's the stall. Full power, level the wings, lower the nose. Didn't even lose any altitude, that's how easy those are. Take a look at the airspeed again when I do this one to the right. Let's see at what airspeed it stalls. I'm clear on the right, going right, coordinated turn, coordinated steep turn, and idiot pilot pulls back way too much. Oh, about 75. There we go. The published stall speed in the clean configuration for this, 56, way above that. So, accelerated stall. What's another stall situation? Let's do trim stall. So we're coming in on final, right? Idiot pilot's got way too much back trim in there, and you have to go around. Like, I'm fighting this. Look at this. Ooh, that comes up like that. Ooh. I had to do this on my CFI check, right? Alright, this is a little bit of a workout at the moment, but I've got it trimmed all the way back, right? So, silly pilot's coming in, he's forgotten that he's trimmed way back, and you don't adjust the trim on a go-around. And this is what happens. I'm going to do it with like 10 degrees of flaps. I don't know what I'm trimming, I'm trying to show the trim stall. Alright, I'm going to get it down to approach speed. We're going to go full power. And we're going to mess this up. 65. All right, I'm coming in on the final. Okay, yeah, it's not looking good enough, and I'm going around. Looking outside because I want to see a wave to the tower. Oh shit! I've trimmed it way back too much. Oh. Now, unfortunately, you've got so much back trim in there that this is going to be difficult to keep down. So you got to get that trim back in. Still not there. There we go. Now it's become more manageable. Back it off, and silly pilot has fixed his silly mistake. Lake Epoch traffic pipe check 32042 on the southwest shore, Lake Epoch at 2,500 feet. Doing some unusual altitude recoveries, Lake Epoch. You're in a cloud or whatever, right? You've come out of it upside down, let's say. You've got to get the plane just back level, sort yourself out, and then you can worry about, you know, getting back to your original altitude or whatever. So, if it's a nose down, airspeed's increasing to a point where if you're in a turn, and you're pulling up while you're banking to get back wings level, you're causing a major stress on these wings. Level the wings first before you pull back in that scenario. So let's just practice one of those, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Coming around, I know I'm looking, but whatever, just to show you. So you're getting disoriented, we come out of the cloud, and basically full power, wings banked, going down to the ground. Look at how quick that airspeed's increasing. Back off that power, level those wings before you even think about pulling that nose up. I felt hardly any G-forces there. It's all about not stressing that airframe. Nose high, think about the stall, obviously. Nose high, anytime you nose high, in any scenario while you're flying, you have to think about a stall. So let's do nose high this time. Nose high slightly different. The main thing is to relieve your angle of attack, reduce your angle of attack. Get your full power in there, and then bring those wings level. So here we go. Unusual attitudes, I'm disorienting, we're below manoeuvring speed, we're fine, I'm getting disoriented, and then let's say we're going nose high with power idle in a left turn. Oh dear, bad situation. So you want to get that nose down, full power, level the wings. The first thing that I'm thinking about is a stall recovery. First thing. I mean, it's obviously easier when I'm actually looking outside and I know what's going on. It's more difficult when you're under the hood and the instructor's about with the plane, and then you've got to look up and look at your instruments, and because you've got an initial period where you're trying to interpret what's going on, right? So it's not instantaneous thing. So you interpret it and then it's like, okay, good, all right, do that. Steep turns, all right, steep turns is a good one. So, little story for you. Steep turns on my ATP check ride. I've always struggled with steep turns, by the by. Steep turns are probably my manoeuvre that I perform the worst. And I was on my ATP check ride for flying the ATR at the regional that I used to be at. DP was like, okay, we're going to do steep turns. So I literally took about 2 minutes after he said that to stabilise myself, set myself up, think about what I'm going to do, think about what speed I want to do it at, think about my heading, think about all this sort of stuff, think about how much I'm going to trim back, because I use trim in a steep turn. So I literally took about 2 minutes to set that up, and that's a good thing going forward for anybody looking at this and thinking, you know, for a check ride, I have to do everything bang, 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 quick when the examiner says it. No, listen, you've given the examiner the money already, right? So take your time, set yourself up, think about what you're doing, and then do it. So we're on a 060, I've got something on the ground that I'm using as a reference. So steep turns, 45 degrees for the private level. You got 100 feet plus or minus, 10 knots on the airspeed. You got 5 degrees on the bank. And yeah, so I'm trimmed out already. I'm below manoeuvring speed. And I'm rolling into a 45 degree bank. I'm adding a touch of power. I'm trimming myself back about 3 rolls of trim. I'm looking outside at my horizon and I've trimmed so I can go pretty much hands off with this and it maintains what I want. And then I'm just using the horizon. My horizon's cutting here for me at the moment, and that's what I want to keep. And if I look outside and I've kept that, then I can know that my stuff in here is going to be golden. I'm rolling up, looking at my point, rolling out. Now, the danger here is forgetting that you got trim in there and forgetting you got a little bit of extra power in there. And that's not good, because you got to do a turn to the right at this point. So turn to the right, click, click, click. So coming in, a little bit of power, a little bit of rudder. My steep turns to the right are worse than my steep turns to the left, but same principle. I'm at about 45 degrees, I'm just monitoring that, I'm monitoring where the horizon is cutting on the dashboard, and I'm just trying to maintain that. Eyes on the horizon, I look back in here, I'm where I need to be. I've actually overbanking tendency though. But that is how I do it. We're rolling back up to a 060, and again, I'll show you, if you don't do anything with the trim and you're an idiot and you look, oh climbing, oops. Let's think about this for a second. Let's say in a steep turn you climb or descend, so let's this up a little bit with clear left. So I'm going to put too much power in and I'm going to pull back way too much. You can see I've got a climb rate going, oops. So what I can do is I can reduce some power, I can reduce the nose, and I can increase the bank by just a few degrees, because the more bank you've got, the less vertical lift you've got. So that brings you down back to where you need to be, and then you can re-stabilise, and then you're back into the steep turn. As I said that, I roll right past 060. Oh God, he's good. Yes, he's good. If you were descending now, let's do steep turn to the right and descend. Let's say you've not got enough power in there and you've got too much bank. You're overbanking. The horizon now is cutting up here, which I know is wrong, and I know I've got a descent rate going. Oh God, okay, so relieve some of that bank, pull that nose up a little bit, increase the power a touch, and you're going to stop that descent rate. Look at this coming back up. Boom, I'm back to about 2100 RPM. Give yourself some coordination, dipshit. You can't relieve too much of the bank angle, it's supposed to still be a steep turn, but you can see we're coming back towards our altitude, and as you get back to there, you can re-stabilise, roll it out, 060, bing bang boom. Alright, let's go to Orlando North, on to 2.8, and I'm going to steep spiral down to the runway here at Orlando North, which funnily enough is where Anda Aviation is based. That's where his maintenance base is, and it's a 2,500 foot runway, so this should be fun. We're going to try and do this power off. Orlando North traffic, Piper Cherokee at 32042 at 3,000 feet, going to be over the field, steep spiral, power off approach to runway 09, Orlando North. Again, something's happened, and the point that you need to land at might be directly underneath you. So instead of extending the glide out, and then trying to come back and risking not making it, you can use this little manoeuvre to help you bring it down. Now commercial standard is no more than 60 degrees of bank for this, and you vary it for the wind. Now I'm looking around for like a smokestack. The winds in Orlando said it was calm. Although I can see there is definitely a wind on that. There's on the lake. The flow of the lake is coming towards me, so I've got a headwind at the moment, as referenced with the ground speed being at 76 knots. Makes sense. All right. Something to be said for shock cooling as well. So clear the engine every turn. So here we go. All right, there's runway 90, 3,000 feet. I'm going to back off the power all the way back, nice and easy, and I'm going to start my steep spiral. So I've got a tailwind at the moment, so it's going to be the steepest bank at this point, between 85 and 90. I've got a headwind now, so I can relieve some of that bank angle. But look at this descent rate, and I've still got positive loading on the wings because I'm in a turn. So here's one rotation, I'm back on downwind. I'm going to increase the RPM a little bit, clear the engine. I'm going to continue the turn. I'm still in the same spot that I was, varying the bank angle again with a tailwind. Now I can relieve the bank angle again as I'm going into the wind. Descent rate is beautiful. Looking back, still at the same spot, and we've only lost 1,000 feet, and that's 2 rotations. As we're coming out here, just clearing that engine a little bit. Through 1,700 feet. Keep that nose coming down, keep the coordination. And that's 3 rotations, right? I've still got 1,500 feet to go, so technically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another spiral. I'm going to see how this goes for another spiral, just so I don't have to extend the glide. I've got plenty of altitude, I've got plenty of speed.
Lack of traffic there.
On off, traffic check 32042, final runway 09 on and off. I'm even having to put a little bit of a slip in there to get this thing down. Wow! Plenty of speed, altitude's fine now, we've made the runway. All we need to do is just have a smooth touchdown. Touch it down smooth. Oh, we'll take that every day of the week. If it was a little bit left centre line. But there we go. Steep spiral down from 3,000 feet. So from 3,000, it took me 4 rotations. I was able to do a 4th rotation because I still had the altitude. So something to think about. And there you go. There's some manoeuvres and how I do them. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying that, you know, my way is the best way or even a good way. But that's the way that's worked for me throughout my flying, you know, even before becoming a CFI and being an ATP and all that. So hopefully you've gained something from this. If you have, let me know below. Let me know how you do things. If you do things differently to the way that I do, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you down there. So tune in on the next one, because I'm actually recording another flight right now. I'm going to be doing some landings here. The first thing I'm doing is the impossible turn to show that. So that's going to be another video. So tune in for that. Make sure you subscribe to LewDix Aviation so you don't miss it, and other stuff. I've got some really cool stuff planned. Really cool stuff, big stuff as well. So make sure you subscribe. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.